I think there's a ton of risks. It's risky, gets hurt again. He's just risking pitching in the first place. But I think it's a lot of effort in the delivery. He's way across his body. He's already had the elbow injury. That's not great. And I know a lot of folks said he's probably just a relief.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Foul Territory Draft Takeover in Arlington, Texas. We're in Arlington. Keith Law is in Fort Worth at the draft itself. Let's talk about it right now. Keith from The Athletic. Check out all of his work, both on Twitter and, of course, on The Athletic. Subscribe to The Athletic to see everything going on. Keith, great to talk to you again. So let's first get your overall take on the first round. Most surprising thing you've noticed so far?
I don't know if I was surprised, maybe can I say most interesting, is this was the most college-heavy draft, maybe in history. It's the latest we've ever seen. First high school player taken, 9th overall. I think there were 9 high school players total in the first round. I mean, this was just extremely college-heavy. And I know we've even talked about this with you guys, right? People said this was not a great high school class this year. Even so, that is about as college heavy. People complain all the time there's no talent in college baseball. Well, they're lying, obviously, because they just took a whole bunch of college players in the first round. I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think it's really interesting that teams just went so heavily in that direction. We'll see when we get to they're in the comp round now. If we get in the second round with some of these big high school names still on the board, will they come off and maybe get big money, but not end up actual first round picks?
Keith, when you look at the top of this first round, we did see also, there were all guys who were kind of in that discussion, but we saw some things kind of fall a little bit differently. The one that jumped out to me probably was kind of thought that Condon was going to go 2. What did you think of the Reds' decision there going with Burns? And is there any other top 5 picks that really surprised you that they went where they did?
It made me mildly surprised just because was so convinced. Like, Charlie Condon is the best player in the draft. He won the Gold. He's super talented. He's athletic. How can you not take that guy? That said, I'll defend the Reds. Not that they need my defense, but they took the best pitcher in the class. Their scouting director was there the night I saw Burns when I think it was his best outing of the year. So I could certainly understand if that colored the decision. I could understand them saying, look, we always need pitching. We play in a hitter's park. Developing pitching is difficult. We have plenty of bats. Sorry, they apparently just turned the broiler on here. So I totally understand them taking Burns. How much can you argue? It's like, we got the best pitcher in the class. I had Burns a little bit over Smith. People may disagree, but if the Reds can say we got the best pitcher in the entire draft class, that's probably a good outcome of it. I was mildly surprised. We heard all spring the A's were going to take Kurtz. And I think a lot of people said, well, they're going to take him because he walks a lot. They're the A's, and this is apparently still 2002. But I heard so much in the last week. So much in the last week that it's, teams are off of Kurtz. They're scared by the shoulder. They think maybe it's just walks, but not enough of the rest of the offensive package. And then they took him after that, which, maybe I shouldn't be surprised. Maybe I just bought into too much of the gossip in the last week. I think we just I personally get very tunnel vision on all the gossip the week leading up to the draft. And you forget, that they liked him all spring. That's probably who they wanted to take all along. And I just listened to some of the wrong stories.
Keith, has there been a surprise for you? I mean, I know besides the college, but like a player that's either gone higher or lower. And then after this, I'm going to ask you about Jack Caglione, who everyone says is my favorite player of all time.
So higher than expected. I'm not saying anything bad about the player, but Dante Nori going in the first round definitely surprised me. I know he's super athletic. He's really talented. I knew area scouts who loved him. 80 runner, at least a 70 defender in center. I think there's some little things you can do with the swing to get to maybe some more power. He looks like he's built for power, just hasn't shown a lot of it. He is going to be 20 in October. I mean, that is old for a high school player. And everybody is so obsessed with age of position players. It's a huge variable in a lot of teams' models. And the Phillies just aren't one of those teams, I guess. I'm not saying in any way it was a bad pick, but just surprising. Also, Ryan Waldschmidt slipping out of the first round. I had heard his name so much this spring. I saw him. I thought he was definitely one of the probably 10 to 12 best college position players in the draft. Thought there was a chance he'd even go in the top 10. I did hear there was a little medical thing that scared a few teams off at the end. He went, I think it was 31. It was out of the first round. That's definitely the guy who most surprised me that he slipped out of the first round.
Got it. All right, so let's go to Caglione. I've already gone on my soapbox and saying I don't understand how he goes from the potential number one to 6. I mean, he fell so far, right?
Yeah.
Del Royals came out and said he's going to be a two-way guy. Listen, I'm a Florida fan. He's not a pitcher for me. Now, he had his velocity dipped at the end, right? To me, you stick that big dude at first base. You say, go hit me 40. You play a gold glove first base. And that's it. That's the pick for me. So why would they come out and say he's a two-way guy? Because if you watch him pitch at Florida, he's already had Tommy John. He had it in high school. What do they see as being the upside in letting him pitch?
I'm with you 100%, and I'm going to ask you a question when I finish answering yours. I think there's a ton of risks. As Risky gets hurt again, he's just risking pitching in the first place. But I think it's a lot of effort in the delivery. He's way across his body. He's already had the elbow injury. That's not great. And I know a lot of folks said he's probably just a reliever as a pitcher. I wonder if this was him. Does he really want to do it? And they said, all right, you can do this at the start. We've seen a lot of teams do that going back. Remember the Red Sox doing that with Casey Kelly. Casey Kelly said, I'll only sign if you let me play shortstop for another year. And they did, and he didn't hit, and then they convinced him to just be a pitcher. I think he actually made a lot of money in Korea. So I would say that worked out for him eventually. You said let Jack go out as a first baseman, be a gold glove first baseman, and go hit bombs. Would you try him anywhere else? I've only seen him at first. He looks like a decent athlete. Obviously, he's got a hose of an arm. Would you try him in right field?
Why not? He can run. He runs better, I think, than people give him credit for. You see, He's gigantic. First of all, he's like 6'5", like 240. I don't know what they list him as, but he's a monster. So, yeah, he could probably play he could play a corner for sure. But he's really good, though. Like ground balls, he has good movement. He's quick. He can pick the ball. So, I don't know. I mean, would you try it? Why not? I mean, if you sign Pasquantino to a long-term contract, right? Why would you not? If he's there for a while, where else is Jack going to play? I mean,
Just
you have
try
DH.
it.
Or
Just try
stick
it.
him in the
Just
outfield in the
try
minor
it.
leagues. Yeah.
They did it with
That's
Hosmer.
what I think. I think he can do it.
Yeah.
Hey, Keith, I got one for you that I think you're going to like. So, remember we did that draft roundtable show the other day with Shooter Hunt, Carlos Collazo, and myself. Apparently the Yankees were watching, and they saw you talk up Ben Hess and say, I don't get why this guy won't go in the first round. Why is nobody talking about him? And the Yankees were like, shut up, Keith. We are taking him in the first round.
So funny, after that, I got a text from a national guy that just said, he obviously watched the roundtable, and it just said, shh. I'm trying to get him to the second round. And I'm like, nobody's listening to me. I guess maybe somebody was listening to me. But as soon as they picked him, I'm like, thank God I planted a flag on that to say, hey, I think this guy's pretty good. I didn't get it. I don't get why he didn't get more love. I thought it was a great pick by the Yankees. I see their system a lot just by virtue of living in the Mid-Atlantic, and they don't have a guy like him. They've traded some pitching. They've graduated some pitching. He really also fits for them, and they love those guys with certain characteristics on the fastball, big extension out over the front side. He's really interesting. And now I kind of just personally pleased I'll probably get to see him a lot the next year or two and see what they do with him, because I do think there's little things that the Yankees do really well in pitching development that align well with what Hess can do, what he's already shown he can do physically, ways that I think he can get even better.
All right, so you had said earlier, you had alluded to the fact that, and he was talking about Jack sliding down, or why is he sliding down? Is there somebody that if the draft was still in June would have been taken in a different spot because they were still playing baseball and there wasn't this lull of nobody playing?
I wonder if Braden Montgomery would have gone higher because of the ankle, right? Did teams – I mean, there were you guys probably heard a lot of this too. There were so many players with medicals this year. I was like, just show me the guy with the clean medical because I don't think he exists. And – somebody, I won't say who the player was, but somebody was like, oh, it's both shoulders and a rib. I was like, a rib? Who has a medical for a rib?
Too much.
But, it just seemed to be that kind of year. And I wonder if that was one with Montgomery where he was playing really well and then he broke his ankle. Like, if you just sort of captured him at the moment right before the injury, does he go a lot higher? But I'll flip it around. Like, I think both Christian Moore and Kalen Culpepper did better because they finished so strongly, right? Christian Moore goes to Omaha and posts those insane exit velocities in that game. JJ, you had a great tweet about that. What, did you have more balls hit at 115 or higher than the Cleveland Guardians have in the big leagues ever? since they started measuring this stuff.
A lot of people wanted to let me know that they use metal bats in
Do
college
they?
baseball.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Oh
And
really?
my
Really?
mind
You
was
didn't?
blown. I had not noticed that. It was good to notice that for the first time many years ago.
Keith, speaking of that, where is the ankle located on the body? I'm just wondering.
It's low. It's pretty low on the body.
But what, like, is it like? Would you consider it?
Don't lead the witness.
No, I'm not leading the witness.
Don't lead the
Would you
witness.
consider it like this part of the body, or would you consider it like this part of the body?
Nobody's debating that.
It is a lower body injury.
Okay,
certainly-
because
Go.
I got yelled at for saying that he broke his leg, and I consider the ankle part of the leg. If you get into the foot, then the foot is different than the ankle, right? The foot bone connects to the ankle bone connects to the.
I
That
think
is how
like
the
I
ball
think
goes,
like
yes.
Ruben Tejada broke his leg,
Oh, yeah.
on the slide, not
On the slide.
on the Chase Utley slide.
You know what
Ankle's
I'll tell from
different.
a practical perspective, though, with a leg, a knee is a whole separate category. Ankle, it's the same thing if he'd broken, like, what's that bone? The tibia, the shin bone? Like, I just want to know he can run okay, right? That's the whole, to me, they're functionally the same. You can recover from those. Do they run okay? And I never heard, maybe you guys heard differently, I never heard anything yet, like ligament damage or anything that would make me worry about him running long term. So to me, it's like, it is in the category of a leg injury, in that I think he'll be fine. As long as he comes back and he runs fine, there was no ligament damage anywhere, it shouldn't affect his draft stock. But, he couldn't go to workouts. Maybe teams they just want to see what he looks like when he's back 100%. So I thought he was I had heard there was a chance he was going to go 4. JJ, I don't know if you heard anything along those lines. I definitely didn't think he was going to get out of the top 10.
Keith, I don't have the perfect answer to your question, but this is the most college players taken in the top 34 picks. 24 players taken in the top 34 picks. I've got to work on another query to try to get to the top 30. But
Okay.
top 30, but 24 of the top 34. The thing that also stands out to me is I don't think that this is going to be, I know it was a bad high school year, but I also think there are structural forces that are not going to surprise me if we end up breaking that record going forward. What do you think? Like, I think with the rise of NIL, transfers, smaller minors, put it all together, and I think we're headed that direction.
I agree with everything you just said. I think that's perfect analysis. I think especially if Major League Baseball does further contract the minors, like they're rumored to want to do, they just want to farm, no pun intended, out a lot of the player development to the colleges. I also think this realignment, which don't ask me what conference some of these schools are in because I can't remember anymore, but you're going to see some particularly powerful conferences, like some super conferences. We already have our power conferences. I think the strong get stronger. Between NIL money, between some of the TV deals that we're going to see, between the consolidation into some of these larger national, travel's going to suck, but these national conferences, I think you're going to see a lot of the, William Schmidt's, the timing of his decision was not great, but a kid saying, I'm going to go pitch at LSU for 3 years, there's worse things to do, actually. A lot of guys go to LSU, get a whole lot better, come out as very high draft picks. There's a guy starting the All-Star game in 2 years who did something along those lines. So, I absolutely think we're going to be more college heavy, and I'm fine with that. Like, if high school kids want to sign, if we think they're ready, great. But I also think there's a lot of value for players going to college, getting more mature, filling out physically, and we get 3 more years to scout them. And for teams that rely heavily on the batted ball and pitch data, we get all of that for 3 years, from the summers and from the springs. So I think everybody kind of wins when a lot more players do end up in college.
The thing that jumps out to me about this is we talk about super conferences, and we already are there with NIL and 11.7. But we're heading towards a world where we're probably going to have 30 to 33 full scholarships if the school's willing to pay for them. And we know which schools are going to be the ones that are going to be willing to pay for them. And so if we think the super conferences are going on now, just wait till when LSU can spend 33 scholarships, and most teams out there are a lot of teams that don't get to 11.7 right now. So we're really headed in that direction before too long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A lot of Raising Cane's endorsement deals down there in Louisiana.
Marucci, don't forget about Marucci.
Yeah.
Yes, Marucci. Yep.
There's going to be a lot of great chicken finger eating. Okay. Keith, great to have you. Thank you really so much for the time. We really appreciate it, obviously, from the draft there. Lastly, it was a good experience. It's like in a rodeo or something, right, this year?
If it wasn't for the music, they were blasting music. It was otherwise great. This is a great venue. I could see everything. The media's in a good spot where, like, we could see the players who were here. They were kind of walking in front of us. Like, got a little emotional seeing Kalen up like that. Like, I'm a parent. I get it. It was pretty awesome. Like, this was probably, last year on the field at the Seahawks Stadium was good, but I think this was probably the best overall setup they've had so far. It worked really well. Like, it is nice to see. Obviously, I pick on Major League Baseball sometimes for some of the decisions, but this was a good spot. They put on a pretty good show.
Yeah, that looks like a win. I like it. Keith, enjoy the rest. Thank you very much. Talk soon.
My pleasure, guys.
Let's talk Babbel for a moment. Best way to learn a new language. Immersion. Thank you. Living where the language is spoken and using it every day. But if that's not your thing, or you're not in the cards to just be able to travel all over the place and immerse yourself, you can still learn a new language the second best way, and that is with Babbel. You can hit the button again if you want. The little boop. Babbel is the science-backed language learning app. No, that actually works. There it is. Hey there, buddy. Babbel's designed by real people for real conversations. And the speech recognition technology also helps you to improve your pronunciation and your accent, which I know is important, but maybe not as important to me. I feel like I'm not good at mimicking accents. Kratz, I think, takes a lot of pride in doing that. Would you say?
You can't roll your R's? Have you gotten to the point where you're rolling your R's?
Not even close to rolling my R's. Can you roll your R's?
Yeah, it's all about the tongue. Perro, correr. It's all.
I can't do that. My tongue is like really stuck to the whatever that bottom thing is that they call it.
Oh, retainer? That's disgusting.
No, not retainer.
Your retainer?
Like how there's
his headgear.
I can't really move my mouth much. Can you roll your R's?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
of course, bro. Come on. I got tongue skills.
I don't. So if you'd like to learn tongue skills, Babbel is for you. And here's the special limited time deal for FT listeners. Right now, get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription only for the FT fam at babbel.com/foul. Again, that's babbel.com/foul, spelled BABBEL.com/FOUL. Rules and restrictions may apply. And with Babbel, you can learn everything you need to have real-world conversations, from vocab words to culture, and all it takes is just 10 minutes a day.
Hey everybody, be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.